The president now says he will push school officials to make sure students return to the classroom this fall. He made his case during a White House roundtable. He claimed, without giving evidence, that some officials want to keep schools off limits for reasons other than the coronavirus.
We don't want people to make political statements or do it for political reasons. I think it's going to be good for them politically, so they keep the schools closed. No way. So we're very much going to put pressure on governors and everybody else to open the schools, to get them open. And it's very important. It's very important for our country. It's very important for the well-being of the student and the parents.
The CDC has guidelines for schools that do reopen. If the community has a small to moderate transmission rate, it should cancel gatherings like field trips or assemblies. If there is a significant transmission rate, students should be sent home for at least 2 weeks.
So there's a lot to talk about here, so let's bring in CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus. He joins us from California. Doctor, good morning. If I could, I don't want to remove politics completely from this conversation. Let's talk medically. Is it okay for schools to open in the fall? Can they do it? And what do they need to do it safely?
You know, children are 1/3 to 1/2 less likely to catch the virus or spread the virus. So that data seemed to be holding up. And so I believe children should be in school, and I believe obviously parents need that. But we need to wear masks. It will be mandatory. It should be mandatory in all school districts for children to wear masks. They should be socially distanced as much as possible. There should be plans so there are no large gatherings in the school, and the school should be redesigned to enable space for the children in the class so they're not right next to each other. That will take resources and time. We have it now. We have to get on it across the country so that schools can open.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is it realistic to expect that schools will make those changes by next month? And what do you make of teachers and some teachers' unions saying, look, we're skeptical. We don't feel it's particularly safe for us as adults to go back in the classroom?
Well, I think if you're a school, you have to identify who are the high-risk teachers. Those are people who are elderly, have medical conditions, or who live with them, and they need to be treated slightly different than the others who don't. But you can develop a plan for teachers who are comfortable. You're not going to force a teacher into an uncomfortable situation, but you have to develop a plan so kids can go to school. They've done it in many countries. It's been successful. Children have worn masks in school all day in Japan, in South Korea, in China, and it's Vietnam, and they've been successful. We have to be able to do it here, and we will have very little spread at the school. With a plan, where there are cases, then there will be shutdowns or ways to deal with those cases.
Dr. Agus, the president said yesterday we will have a vaccine and therapeutics long before the end of the year. Do you agree with that assessment? What's the timeline? And more importantly, will it be effective? The flu vaccine, we still need to get one every year, and it's not a catch-all.
Glad you're asking a lot of things at once. And what I will tell you is that the data look encouraging now, that some of the lead vaccine candidates are causing very potent immune responses, which in general correlate to some protection from the virus. And I emphasize the word some. It's likely that you will need 2 shots of this vaccine to start. So one in the beginning and one 3 weeks later. And then we'll see how long the vaccine lasts. You may need a booster shot every 6 months, every year. We just don't know yet because we're not that far into the clinical trials. But I am encouraged by the initial data. There is now the placebo-controlled trial ongoing in Brazil. And the power of that, because Brazil has very large numbers of cases, is that we will know soon if it works. We know there's an immune response. Now we'll know if it works. If it works, it's already being produced here in the United States. There could be a vaccine in the fall. I'm optimistic, but cautiously so.
So, Dr. David Agus here, I want to put a fine point on this. If a vaccine arrives in the fall, does that mean we return to normal in the fall?
Not at all. I mean, so what a vaccine will do, and this is important, thank you for asking this, Tony, is it will temper down your response. So you may still get the virus, but not be as sick, not up in the hospital or in an ICU, and the virus can still spread. So we will still be wearing a mask until we have a significant fall in the virus incidence across the country, and we will still be changing our behavior. It is not a one-and-done country change a shot. This will be a long procedure to get back to normal. But I do see light at the end of the tunnel. I am optimistic.
I'd like ending on that note. Dr. Agus, thank you very much.